Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to Authentically Me and Jail too, of course. I am bringing this episode to you because I know that so many women feel like this in silence. They don't know where to turn to, and this is when they're looking for someone like me to support them. So many women come to me because they are stuck in life. They don't know where to go, what to do, where to turn, how to be happy. And it's such a frustrating position to be in. And I know that there are so many women out there who don't know where to turn now. And this is why I've done this episode, because most of us don't actually realize how being stuck can actually open a portal of huge transformation for you. In this podcast, I'm here to offer you a different perspective on things, how I've viewed different things that have gone on in my own life, and how having a different positive perspective on things has actually allowed me to be the woman that I am today. And being stuck is no different. Believe it or not, being stuck is actually a portal of transformation. Being stuck is telling you that, do you know what? You have tried every single thing that you can think of, every single thing to try and control your situation. Because this is what being stuck is necessarily all about. It's about you trying to control your life of how you think it should be. And I had a huge wake up call a few days ago, and I've had a few wake up calls actually during my journey around this, that you have a plan and the universe has a plan. And unfortunately, it's always the universe plan that wins. Our plan is normally created around survival. That's why we create our plan. Our plan is very much created from our mind, and that is where all our unconscious wounds are stored. Which means that when we create a reality from our mind, we create it that we're going to do this, this, and this, and then we're not going to get hurt. Because when we've been hurt in the past, it really, really hurt, and I don't want to feel that again. So, in order not to feel it again, I'm just going to keep controlling my life to avoid that pain. And believe it or not, the more you try and control not receiving the pain, you're actually in the end going to receive a lot more. Because when you're trying to resist the flow of life, it hurts, it's painful. It's kind of like, I thought about this the other night in bed, because I know that recently I've been resisting my own flow, and I realized that it's like you are in a boat on a stream and you are paddling upstream. You are paddling against the water, against the current. And can you just imagine at that moment how challenging that is to keep rowing the boat, rowing the boat up the stream against the flow of where it's going. And you keep trying your hardest, and then it gets tiring. It gets so tiring because you're going against everything that's coming at you. And then by the time you actually get to the place that you want to get to, you're so tired that you can't even enjoy it. So then what do? You just let the oars go and you let the boat flow. And while you're letting the boat flow, you actually realize that the place that you're going is so much more beautiful than the place that you thought you wanted to go. And this is what happens when we are resisting the flow of life. We are resisting what the universe has planned for us because we believe that our plan is so much better. When in reality, we are not in control of our life. We are not in control of what's going to happen. And I know that is a really, really tough pill to swallow. I believed for so long that I was in control of my life, that I'm the one that can do anything that I want, and whatever's in my mind, it can happen. Which, on a level, it can if it's meant to be. If it's not meant to be, it will not happen, no matter how hard you try. I had it in my head that I wanted a picture perfect family by the time I was 25. Here I am at 31 years old, single, without that vision that I thought was meant for me. And that is a hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, it's also saying to yourself that, did I actually want that vision for the vision itself? Or did I want it because it would make me feel like something? And this is the thing, most of us want a certain vision because that's what society tells us that we should have at that age. If we don't have it, then we're not good enough. So then we try and force things. And then when we force things, then we feel stuck again because they're not happening. And then we get frustrated. And then it's the same cycle. Or it could be like in my situation, when I was in a relationship, I kept trying to force it to make it work. Every time I tried something new, it wouldn't work. So then I'd feel hurt again. Then I'd be like, no, I'm going to make this happen. This relationship's going to work. I try something new. Then guess what happens? It doesn't work. So then I feel hurt again. Then I'm like, no, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to go again. And then in the end, I realized that the powers that be, the universe, was telling me, you're hitting your head against a brick wall. It's not going to work. It's not working. And at this point, and this is where most women are at when they come to me, it's like, well, now what? I'm stuck. Every single time I'm trying something, it's not working. And this was where I would ask you, and I'll ask you right now to recap this in your own life. What are you actually avoiding? What are you avoiding to happen that you keep trying to stay away from? Because it's actually the thing that you're avoiding is what's keeping you in this trap of being stuck. Because once you are able to overcome the obstacle, the fear, and the fear underneath all these obstacles is hurt, not knowing how to process that hurt and that pain. Once you are able to face that head on, you're going to be able to untangle yourself from the stuck place that you're in, which is just going to allow you to evolve so much as a person. And this is what happened to me on my journey. Once I had that realization that, do you know what? I am no longer in control anymore. I am no longer in control, and I just need to just let it go. And I actually, a few days ago, I did exactly the same thing. I just let everything go. And I said this to my client last night, that you just need to let everything go. And she goes, yeah, but I'm going to fall. And you know what? This is where the greatest gift is given to you. And that's the gift of faith. Knowing that no matter how long you fall and how you fall, someone's going to catch you. Once I realized this in my own life back in 2018, when I realized that I could no longer do my relationship that I was in. I could no longer feel stuck. And the obstacle of what I was putting in front of me, that I can't do my life on my own, looked very, very small. That obstacle was something that I was able to take on, whereas before I couldn't. And when I took on that obstacle and I faced that fear, I took that jump, I took that leap of faith. I didn't know who was going to catch me and how. I literally was about to gamble every single thing I had. My home, the place that I lived, um, my future, everything. Yet 5 years later, I am fully standing on my feet again. The powers that be had me, they guided me. And it's only when you're in that space can you actually receive the guidance that you need and the direction that you need and the support from the people around you. I had so much support from people that I didn't even know that were there because I didn't see them. Why? Because I was stuck in a situation that I didn't want to see the other side. But once we start to actually understand what being stuck is all about and how we need to start accepting certain things about our situation, once we start the process of acceptance of where we're at, we can then start to let go, let go of the control. And for some of you listening to that, you're probably like the feeling within you is like, letting go of this control. Oh my God. And I get that. I get that. Like, I used to be someone who very much would control my outward reality. And letting go of that was a challenge, but it's not impossible. It's a process. And it's about understanding, well, why are you controlling certain things in the first place? Why are you trying to control the man in your life to love you? Why are you trying to control where you're living in your life right now? Why are you trying to control your job? Why are you trying to control your friends? Why are you trying to control your family? What are you avoiding to happen? Because the thing is, once you learn how to be with the thing that you're avoiding, you actually become unstoppable. When you can sit and say, I know how to sit with hurt, I know how to sit with pain, so whatever you're going to throw at me, it doesn't matter because I can hold it. And that's actually what I did the other day. I thought my life was going in a certain direction, and I was following the guidance that I was receiving at that time to take certain big leaps actually in my life. And all of a sudden, just as I was about to make the step, I received certain news, which meant that not only could I not take the step, I actually had to leave the country at the same time. That was not only was it upsetting because I thought that I had a certain plan going forward and that's where I was going. I also felt at that point that I was being forced in a completely different direction that I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go that way. I didn't want to spend that money because in my head I had that money planned for something else. But in situations like this, it's like when you can't see what's going on in front of you, the universe has to pick you up and take you out. It's kind of like the universe has to wake you up a bit. And that's what I felt. I felt like the universe had given me a big slap round the face as if to say, Jade, I'm the one in control now, not you. Stop thinking that you're the one in control because you're not. I am. And I was like, oh my God. So now I've got to leave Egypt. Why? For those of you that don't know, leaving Egypt is one of the things that I absolutely detest. Egypt is very much more than my home, and the fact that I have to leave, I'm not leaving for a long period, by the way, but I like to choose when I'm going to leave, not being told. So being told or being pointed in that direction was quite challenging. And instead of sitting in the sadness of no longer having what I thought was being planned for me, don't get me wrong, I allowed that emotion to come out. I allowed to have space for it because this is the other thing. It's so important to grieve something that you thought you wanted, but you're not going to receive. And it might be that you're not going to receive it yet. And that was the one piece of wisdom that a very good friend gave to me at that point. She said, maybe it's just not right now. Maybe it's when you come back, everything's going to be there, or maybe it's going to be something better. We never know, but it's just trusting that there is going to be something the other side. So, with me leaving my relationship, it wasn't the fact that I wasn't good enough to have a family, it's just that it wasn't supposed to be with that man, and that's okay. My family, if that's what's written for me, is going to come with the person that is written for me to have it with. And it's me holding faith in that and me holding trust in that. Because in anyone's journey, no matter if you're religious or not, one of the biggest things and the biggest gifts that we have is faith. Even if you're given bad news by hospital workers about a close family member, you just have faith that they're going to be okay. Whenever you hit rock bottom, it's about having faith. There is so much out there that we don't see that are supporting us. And every single time I have taken my leap, I've been supported. And this is what I'd love for you to really recap on in your own life and ask yourself, when have you taken leaps in your life and you've actually landed in the most incredible place the other side? That's what I'd love for you to ask yourself. Because when you look at it like that, you've already received proof that there is an unseen world there that's supporting you. In 2011, I took a one-way ticket. And I said this to my client last night. I took a one-way ticket in 2011, having an apartment to rent for a month, not knowing what I was going to do for an income. And I had around, I think it was about 500 to 1,000 English pounds in my bank account. That was all I had. Yet, on the other side, within 6 weeks, I had a job and a place to live. And I started making my life here in Egypt. The next time that I took the leap after that was when I left my ex-partner. When I took that leap, I literally was about to potentially lose money, job, the home that I called my own, everything. Not knowing how I was going to be caught the other side. Yet, I still kept my job. I didn't lose as much money as I thought I would. And I actually learned so much more about myself, to the fact that I found me again. And when I found me again, I then decided to take another leap to teach other women what I found out about myself. And now I'm sitting on this podcast talking to you about my own experience that I never thought was possible when I took that leap in 2020. Every single time I have taken a leap and I have trusted in the plan that the universe has for me, I've always ended up in so much more of a better place than I ever thought I would. So much. And I'm talking to you right now in the same place. I'm not saying that this is easy. That is one thing that I will openly admit, that it's not easy. But it will be worth it. You're going to go through so many feelings within this journey, so much discomfort, kind of like having a baby, really. Like, you grow this baby in your body for 9 months and then you go through so much pain and you don't know when the pain is going to finish. And then a gorgeous little baby comes out at the end of it. It's worth it. And that's what I want you to know, that it's worth it. But in order to get to the other place, you have to be able to feel. And since what happened to me the other day, I cried like a baby for about an hour. I didn't hold back. I allowed the disappointment and the sadness and the frustration all to come out because it's valid. Every single emotion that we feel is valid. It's allowed to be seen. And once it's seen and expressed, it no longer has power over us anymore. The old Jade would have sat in sadness and frustration for days. She would have tried her best not to leave the country. She would have paid anyone here to get things done. And don't get me wrong, those thoughts were coming in my head at the beginning. But then when I just let it go and I said to myself that, you know what, I can't control this. This is bigger than me. I can't control this. I'm just gonna let go. And when I let go, the solutions of what I was going to do next appeared and is actually working out at the moment a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. And with me doing so, I am sitting here now in trust, not knowing where I'm about to go in the next month. I don't know where my journey is going to end up. I'm going to come back to Egypt, don't worry. But my personal journey with what I had planned, I don't know where it's going to go right now. But I'm sitting in trust that if if the decision that I was about to take can still be taken when I come back, it will be there. If not, then there'll be something better. The delay and the patience that I'm going to learn during this process is going to be a lot. I'm going to receive information that I didn't have right now during this month to then be able to take a better decision after that. I'm being redirected. I'm not being rejected because this is what many of us think, that when things don't go our way, we're being rejected by the other person, but we're actually being protected at that point. There is an element of protection, and it might not be protection for you because remember, with everyone in this world, everyone's got their own plans, and it could be that the other person is being protected from you. There is so many different things going on that we don't necessarily have to understand at the time. But there is a reason behind it. And I actually have this tattooed on my back. And I never knew why I needed it to be on my back. But I've recently discovered why. Because literally behind everything, every single thing, there is a reason. But you just might not see it. I don't see my tattoo unless I look for it in the mirror. And it's the same for you. You might not just see the reason now at the time, but you just need to look for it later. And there will be a time that you will say to yourself, like, now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense. And this is where trust comes in. Because it might not make sense now, but when you trust and have faith in the universal plan, you know that no matter where you end up, you're going to be okay. And the more you build trust, the more you're able to take decisions and steps in your life that don't make sense. I make a lot of decisions in my life that people would probably say, what the hell are you doing that for? And that's because I receive certain guidance from the universe, not knowing where it's going, but I trust it because whenever I've done it before, it's worked. I never knew why I needed to come to Egypt. Now I know because I just followed that urge. So, yeah, being stuck can be such a powerful portal opening, actually. And with the power that's within you, you have the power of choice. Do you wish to take this moment in your life, the moment of being stuck? Do you wish to take it as an opportunity of growth and transformation? Or do you desire to keep yourself in the same patterns, just hoping that this time it's going to work? And I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but if you are keeping trying to force something to work, that in itself means it's not for you, because anything that's supposed to be for you, you do not need to force. It will flow to you when it's ready. And I just realized that I needed to hear that today as well. So, a new thing that I'm going to add to this podcast on some of the episodes is a reflection, a time of reflection. And I'd love it if if you have a notepad or pen, or even just grab your notes app and write these questions down just for you to reflect on in your own life. And I'd like you to ask yourself the question, are you feeling stuck in your life right now? Because there's a reason why you're listening to this episode right now at this time. And if you are feeling stuck, what are you avoiding to happen? What are you resisting? And then ask yourself, why are you resisting it? And last but not least, if you let go of everything and you let life flow, what is the worst that could happen? On that note, I am going to love you and leave you. Keep shining and keep smiling, my gorgeous ones. And I will see you on the next episode.